To anyone who finds this, I'm so sorry. The mutants got out. Hey there trainers, you're with PewterCityJim, and today we're taking part in Lava Tyrant's most recent art challenge, the Mutant Menagerie. Links to LT's channel and the prompt video in the description of course, but the basic premise is to simply take a Pokemon that evolves, infect it with the Cybersleuth virus, and once it does evolve, well, let's see what happens. As something of a scientist myself, I thought that this would be fun. I grabbed up some willing research subjects, got my mutagenic bioweapon out of the test tube, and well, here are the results. The potentially world-dooming results. Oh, before that though, if you enjoyed this video or any of the other stuff that I've made, it would be super great if you could like, subscribe, and say hi down in the comments. Remember, trainer, you are welcome here. Oh, and if you're not subbed to Lava Tyrant, I'd suggest you go check out his stuff. Drop him a sub and check out all his amazing work. If you like the things that I make, you're gonna love the Mahagadi region and Pokemon Legends Lotus. Anyway, on to the mutants. One aspect of this challenge was to find Pokemon referenced in the official games that we have never seen before. This has taken the form of Iono's hair clips becoming a full-fledged Magnezone, for example. For me, there's one that I've always wanted to see, and I really thought we were gonna get it in Pokemon Legends Arceus, but alas, no such luck. That's the shelled form of Gastrodon. It's referenced in the Dex, and that's good enough for me. The Cybersleuth virus has taken those long-dormant shell genes and has re-exposed them, turning them back on and providing us a look at what once was. So, a relatively simple design here. My concept is that this version of Gastrodon is sort of a two-headed creature. The heads are, unlike other two-headed or three-headed Pokemon, quite different from one another. Gastrodon drags the shell around, the shell gets to eat whatever Gastrodon leaves behind. The two heads don't fight one another for food or anything. The shell's brain is very small and simple, and it only knows food and sleep. In terms of colors, I went with something completely different from the standard two-color schemes of Gastrodon, basing it on a purple sea slug of the genus Hypsilodoris. Mostly because I'm pretty sure there's a good amount of Nudibranch influence in the shellos and Gastrodon lines to begin with. I made the foot of the Gastrodon more like that of a normal slug or snail, just because I feel like it would have an easier time moving that massive shell around. The shell itself is loosely based on a conch. And here we have Mutant Gastrodon, the big shell Pokemon. The Cybersleuth virus will cause both eastern and western varieties of shellos to evolve into this two-headed, large-shelled mutant with colors that differ from either original form. This older, more primal version of Gastrodon is a dedicated scavenger, trawling the muddy seafloor for food. It oozes a slime that's thicker than water and highly corrosive in self-defense. It's a poison rock type. Poison because it's slimy and uses that goop to attack enemies and melt food items until they're soft enough to gulp down. Rock because of the shell. Seashells are made of calcium carbonate, which is the same as limestone because limestone is composed mostly of sediment filled with ground up and compressed shells and other little fossils. It's all connected. Abilities are Liquid Ooze, Sticky Hold, and its hidden ability is Earth Eater, which restores HP when hit by a ground type move. That will handily deal with the double weakness to ground type attacks, so you're gonna want to get this hidden ability, of course. Once my shellos evolved, it immediately started dissolving the building, allowing all of the others to escape. Still, that's not quite as rough as what comes next. This one isn't exactly based on a pre-existing concept from Pokemon. Originally, I was thinking of basing a shroomish evolution on the Clicker from The Last of Us, but while browsing interesting mushroom images, well, I couldn't pass this one up. The mushroom I used is called the Bleeding Tooth Mushroom, or the Strawberries and Cream Mushroom, or any one of a number of other strange and weird names. This is the juvenile form of the mushroom, and as you can see, it's covered in globs of red, translucent liquid that looks like blood. It's not, of course, it's just mineral-rich water being expelled by the mushroom's cap, but doesn't it just look cool? There are scaly bits under the cap that look like little teeth, and that's where the fungi's spores come from, and I incorporated those into my Breloom as well. I couldn't help but make a weird alternate take on this monster covered in these glistening gem-looking orbs. The eyes are wide and kind of spaced out looking, with high contrast between pupil and iris as well. It's a little bit like it's not all there. Meet Mutant Breloom, the fungi fang Pokemon. Mutant Breloom are ambush predators who call to their prey using psychic powers amplified by the orbs on their caps. Each orb speaks to Pokemon and people alike with a unique and earnest-sounding voice, luring the prey close enough to stab with the huge teeth ringing its head. The bite is filled with spores. This is how Mutant Breloom reproduces. It's a dark and psychic type. A little odd how fungi-based Pokemon are considered grass types when fungi themselves aren't really plants. Anyway, the one ability available is Mycelium Might. This causes status moves to go last, but it ignores the opponent's ability, so, you know, I don't care if you have insomnia, Spore is shutting you down. Then comes the Dream Eater and Crunch, and... well, that's what I was able to observe. Speaking of insomnia, I may never sleep again. And here we have, quite possibly, the most powerful mutant of the video. Blastoise. See, upon seeing Lava's mutant Tyranitar, I wanted to create something that could rival that kind of epic design. Something that could match strengths with such a formidable beast. Because it was based on Godzilla, I turned to my own love of kaiju for inspiration, and I settled on Gamera. Now, this is a pretty obvious take, I think. Gamera is relatively popular, and I know I'm not the only person to name most of their Squirtles after this kaiju. But this is the first time that I've ever tried to draw out a Gamera-inspired creature. I also wanted to throw in a little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reference for, well, again, pretty obvious reasons. I'd seen this image for The Last Ronin, and I was all in, wanting to combine all those mask colors on the one face in a way that's reminiscent of the thick scales and eye-rings that Gamera has. It didn't really work out, so instead I saved those colors for the shiny. Blastoise's shell is all jointed and cracked, allowing for the pulsing blue light underneath to shine through. I also patterned it with a little of that same luminescent-looking blue because I was inspired kinda by the Pacific Rim kaiju and the way that all those guys had luminescent blood and cool markings. Blastoise's water guns have become like electrical rail guns. And of course, we can't forget those massive tusks of Gameras. They're too iconic not to include. And here we have Mutant Blastoise, the guardian Pokemon. Mutant Blastoise is generally just as friendly and loyal as its standard counterpart. The one exception is that when it's hungry or cold, it becomes far more brutal and willing to attack. They feed on combustible substances such as coal and oil, and have even been seen to bite into power lines to siphon off a quick snack. It's an electric and fire type. What is it with me and making Mon for this challenge that are double weak to ground type attacks? Well, the standard ability for this monster is Levitate, which negates those. Gamera can retract its limbs and fire energy out of the gaps in its shell to fly, even as far as space, so this seems reasonable. You also get Volt Absorb, which will restore HP if hit by an electric type move. The hidden ability is Sheer Force, so its range of fire and electric type moves won't burn or paralyze, but they will deal a wallop for sure. And as promised, the shiny is an homage to the original Mutant Turtles. I guess the one that I evolved just is, it's really hungry, and it's kinda going wild out there. And here we go. I've created a bunch of mutants and doomed the world? Huh? Combusken? Oh, you think you've got this? How? Oh, you're gonna evolve too. Well, things can't get much worse, I guess. You know what? Go for it. Show me what you can do. So my initial idea for this was pretty simple. It turned out not to be simple at all, but anyway. Everyone's seen the beta Blaziken design where it looks like a cross between Blaziken and the Lati duo. I wanted to combine those two lines into a singular monster and lean more into Latios and Latias colors and features, and then I noticed that those colors are red, white, and blue. From there I jumped to that most American of chickens, Foghorn Leghorn. He's seen a bit of a resurgence in popularity lately, what with him showing up in memes to scold and offer sage life advice to many characters, though my favorites are those featuring Goku. Regular Blaziken is a fighting type, of course, focusing on those rocket-powered bird fists and massive fiery kicks, but what if we turned it to a different type of fighting in the tradition of WWE or WCW? Kinda like Rockhawk, a colorful character themed after the kind of big, bombastic personalities of like a Macho Man Randy Savage or Hulk Hogan or Ultimate Warrior. I just had to give this thing a mullet. And here we have Mutant Blaziken, the warrior Pokemon. Mutant Blaziken can deliver a multitude of flashy attacks, and it always looks like it's having a great time, even when it's on the losing end of a battle. While it can seem goofy at first glance, don't take it too lightly. It has the soul of a warrior, and it won't hesitate to put you on the mat. It's a dragon fire type. Dragon as an homage to its legendary inspirations, and fire because, well, it's got rocket booster flames on both the wrists and the butt. Your abilities, though, give it an edge when using fighting type moves. Iron Fist, of course, which increases the power of punching moves, and Mind's Eye, which allows normal and fighting type moves to strike ghosts as well as ignoring foes' evasiveness. Hidden ability is huge power. Okay, Mutant Blaziken, if you think you got this, have at it, buddy. And that takes care of that, I guess. Well, hey, I want to thank Lava Tyrant for creating such a fun competition / challenge. I really enjoyed taking part, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing what your creativity has wrought. And to those of you watching the video all the way to the end, I want to thank you as well. Don't forget to go show LT some love, and if you want to enter this challenge yourself, you have until July 1st. Anyway, trainers, I'm looking forward to catching you in the next one. But till then, take care. Bye.